Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Nashville General Hospital's Wellness Wednesday Facebook Live program. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kathy Poole.
And I'm Kaylin Harris. Our goal of Wellness Wednesdays is to introduce you to Nashville General Hospital experts, have them share information vital to your health and wellness, and give you the opportunity to ask questions during their presentation. Joining us today is Emma Liu, a dietitian within the Nashville Healthcare Center.
Emma attended the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill for both her undergraduate and graduate programs. She is a licensed, registered dietitian nutritionist and holds a master's in public health. She is an integral part of the care management team within the Nashville Healthcare Center. Everyone, please welcome Emma.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, Kathy. Like Kathy has already mentioned, my name is Emma, and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist here at Nashville General. Very, very happy to be here. And today we're going to have a session talking about how to manage the holidays and make sure that we are living our best lifestyles with the holidays that are coming up. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen as well. Give me 1 second. All right, so we should all be able to see managing the holidays. And with this holiday season that is upon us, it is very crucial for us to talk about this. So by the end of today's session, you should be able to understand how planning can help you to maintain your healthy lifestyle during this holiday season, implement some strategies to eat healthy and also be physically active during this time, as well as be able to set some realistic expectations for this time. So let's talk a little bit about holidays and vacations and all of these special events that we have happening. For just the sake of time, I'm going to limit all of this to one word, and that's going to be holidays today. Many of us really find it difficult to eat healthy and stay active during this holiday season, especially with all of these vacations and family gatherings and all these fun things that we have happening. Holidays and parties can be quite hectic themselves. And when we kind of think about parties and potlucks, we have a lot of food options, but sometimes those healthy options can be quite limited. We may not have as many of those choices. So family and friends, those who we celebrate with, can also influence how and what we eat. So we want to be careful and take that into consideration too. Therefore, it's really no surprise that the average American will gain about 2 pounds over the winter holidays. And although that might not sound like a lot to you right now, that weight is often never lost, and it continues to add up year after year, which can lead to long-term health consequences down the road. So you've probably seen all of those, survival guides for this and that. And today we're going to be talking about a party survival guide. How can we get through this holiday season, attend all those fun parties that we have coming up, and still be able to live our healthy lifestyles? The key here is really to plan ahead. I want you to think about this meal that you're going to be eating at your party. Is it a noon party? Is that going to become your lunch? Is it an evening dinner party? And is that going to be your only dinner you have that day? So whatever you choose to do, make sure you're starting your day off with a balanced breakfast. When I'm talking about a balanced breakfast, I mean including a serving of whole grain. So that could be a whole wheat toast, that could be oatmeal. Those are all great sources. A lean protein, and also a piece of fruit. This balanced breakfast is so important because it's going to help you avoid overeating later on in the day, and it'll give you a jump start in your metabolism as well, which I'm sure we are all happy about. When we go to the party, we want to make sure that we can save our calories for that party. So we want to consume lighter meals throughout the day beforehand, and that therefore we can have more of what we can eat later on that day at the party. But before you go to the party, don't forget to have a light snack so that you are not ravenous and hangry by the time you get to the party, and that would cause us to overeat, which can be contributing to that weight gain we have over the holiday season. And of course, A lot of parties nowadays are potlucks. So if you are going to a potluck, do yourself and everybody else there a favor as well. Make sure you're bringing a healthy choice, a healthy option. That way, not only will you know you have something to have there, but you're also helping those around you as well. Speaking of parties and potlucks, I want to kind of talk a little bit about how we can make those good choices when it's at a potluck. A lot of times it will look kind of like a buffet and we'll have a lot of different food options. So I want to remind you that the buffet does not mean it is your buffet. You do not have to have one of everything that is out there. There are so many options there to appeal to a large audience, but it does not mean you have to have one of everything. So in order for us to make sure that we're filling our plate with those foods that we like and still sticking to our healthy eating plan, the best step to do that is to survey all of your food options, kind of take a look at it, see what's all up there. And then once you have seen all of your choices, start with filling half of your plate with vegetables. These will help fill you up quickly and it'll keep you fuller for longer as well. Then you want to choose some lean meats and also some whole grains that keep you full and satisfied. And of course, if this is a party where your grandma makes her appearance once a year and brings her famous homemade pumpkin pie, allow yourself to indulge in that a little bit. But follow what we call the one bite rule. What this means is if there's that once a year dish you really want to try, have a bite, but make sure that you're keeping it to 1 to 2 bites. Scientifically speaking, we don't have to have the whole bite to satisfy our cravings. Just 1 or 2 bites will make sure that we are enjoying our food and still sticking to those lighter choices for the rest of our plate. After you fill up your plate, take yourself away from the table. As humans, we love food, especially when they're delicious holiday food made by our family and friends. But we don't need to stick around and get seconds and thirds of all of those delicious options, because at the end of the day, we might just be way too full and have eaten way too much that we didn't really need. The best way to kind of remember all of these tips is to remember that you are at the party for the company, you're there for the people, and the food is a great bonus, but it comes secondary to that. So enjoy the company, have some fun, have some laughs, and have a little bit of food, but don't make that the centerpiece. Of course, no holiday party would be complete without any drinks. And I'm not just talking about alcoholic drinks. Non-alcoholic drinks can contribute to our lifestyle and eating as well. So let's talk a little bit about both of these. We'll start off with the alcohol. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about a standardized drink. Sometimes we say, oh, I had 1 glass of wine, but I don't know if anybody has ever seen those comically big glasses that actually can hold the entire bottle of wine. So at that point, you might as well just say you had the entire bottle. Fun fact, a bottle of wine actually has 25 ounces in it, and 1 standard drink is 5 ounces, as you can see on our screen. So that 1 bottle is technically 5 standard drinks. That should give us a little bit of perspective as to how much wine we should really be allowing ourselves to have. And that also goes along with beer and hard liquor as well. It's important to remember that alcohol has calories as well. And so we want to keep our alcohol intake in check because it can really add up without us really thinking about it. The other thing that can add to our calorie intake are our drinks, and those are our sugar sweetened beverages. So when we're thinking about our sodas and lemonades, sweet teas, fruit punch, especially fruit punch and apple cider that we might be having at some of these winter parties, they can pack quite a punch when it comes to the calories and also the sugar. So we already know too much sugar intake isn't good for our health, and those calories tend to add up as well. The fun fact to know here is that calories from our liquid intake, so whether that's from alcohol or sodas, our body just does not process them the same way that they do for the calories coming from food that we have to chew. And so we can have, all the alcohol in the world, and at the end of the day, we still won't feel as full as when we actually had solid food. And so you'll probably be continuing to eat the same amount of food that you normally would, even in addition to whatever drinks you're having as well. So at the end of the day, that adds up to a lot of extra calories that we don't think about, which translates to those pounds that we put on, which can be quite difficult for us to get off. Of course, I would not go without talking about physical activity. So whether that is any extra time you have during a family trip or your crunch for time during the holidays, remember that it is really important to plan for physical activity. And I emphasize plan because I have a lot of patients coming to me and telling me that, they had this idea that they were going to start walking 3 times a week or not, but time just gets away from them and they weren't able to do it today. They weren't able to do it last week. They weren't able to do it for this entire month of December. And so what I think it's really important to do for us is to really take a little bit of time and step back, looking at all of our commitments and scheduling physical activity into our calendar, just as you would any other vacation activity, because it is important, right? It has a place in our day and in our month. So you can plan a walk with your family or friends. Remember, if it's a family vacation and you're spending time together, that walk would be a lot of good quality time. You could go grocery shopping or even do some sightseeing as well if you're on vacation. Park further away and walk instead of doing the tourist buses now that they have everywhere here in Nashville. Take a walk down Broadway instead. Those are all some good options. If you're going to the mall to shop, take the stairs instead of the elevator, and that can make your trip a little bit more exciting as well. Make sure that you're making being active part of the family tradition, so that not only are you being physically active, but you're also teaching the next generations those good habits as well. Fun activities could include things as simple as visiting parks, window shopping, or even doing a game of flag football in your backyard. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about stress. The holiday season is filled with family and friends and fun, but oftentimes that can come with added stress and pressure. And stress is really not beneficial when it comes to our overall health. So take a minute to think about what triggers your stress. The most common causes are overbooked schedules, financial stress, and also our family, although we love them to death. So be mindful of these areas and use that to help you avoid stress and see if these triggers are there early on so that you can take steps to cope with them. One of the best things you can do for yourself is really taking a step back and looking at all of the commitments that you have made and saying, do I really need to commit to all of these things? And is this taking time away from what I can do to care for myself? Because you have to do that. You have to care for yourself so that you can stay healthy and happy and, be there for your friends and family as well. One of the top sources of stress relief is exercise. And that takes me back to our previous slide on being physically active. So make sure you are getting in your daily steps and your movements, maybe doing some yoga. Yoga can be a great stress reliever. Other things include deep breathing and meditation as well. Check out YouTube for some of those videos. They have some great ones up there. And make sure you're eating your balanced meals and getting in the proper nutrition for your body, because that's really important for keeping your immune system up so that you don't ever fall sick. And also sleep. I can't emphasize enough how important sleep is. It is as important as our work schedule. If you commit 8 hours a day to work, commit 8 hours a night to sleep as well. Your brain needs that time to rest and to keep your body up and to process all of the new things that you are taking in on a daily basis. With all of that being said, I am here for you as a dietitian. So if you would like to schedule a session with me, feel free to give me a call, or you can send me an email as well with any questions. And that is kind of just a very brief session on what we can do to live a healthier lifestyle during this holiday season.
Oh, well, perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Emma, for sharing. a world of information today about how to manage your health during the holiday seasons. We really appreciate it. And then we'll also provide all of the viewers your contact information at the end, so I can take a screenshot and copy this information so you can stop sharing your screen if you would like to.
Of course. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. I am so sorry. I'm not tech savvy. Don't know how to share my
You are fine.
unshare.
How about this? I am going to. There we go. I think your screen has stopped sharing now. So I do want to, if you hit, let me see, it says share screen in the bottom of the window. So if you just hit stop share at the top.
Oh, perfect.
There you go.
I've used GoToTraining before. I've not shared my screen on Zoom in forever.
No, it's perfectly okay. Thank you so much, though. Thank you very much for all the information that you provided today. I definitely thank our viewers and myself, and I can't even speak for Kathy, but I like to believe so as well. We've learned a lot of information about how to manage our healthy eating over the holiday seasons, because I think it's very important. I think a lot of times we like to use that as an excuse, like, oh, well, it's the holidays and I'm celebrating with friends. Like, I should be able to eat or drink whatever I want to. And you basically just told everyone there's no excuse. You can, but I do appreciate the transparency of there are ways to indulge and still enjoy your grandmother's pumpkin pie without having too much. And we actually do have some questions that came in during your session. So, of course, one of the questions was, how do you avoid or control your stress during the holidays? And you did a wonderful job of explaining that and going through that. And the other question was, so what about eggnog? And
the famous eggnog, of course. So I would say if eggnog falls in your category of desserts and that's something that you want to have a little bit of and indulge in because it is once a season kind of thing, go ahead and do that. But remember, you don't have to have the entire carton. That's really not necessary in order to help us enjoy that. But have some, enjoy it, really kind of savor it, and don't eat it mindlessly. I think that's what's really important, is that sometimes when it comes to this delicious food that we want to have, it can be calorie heavy, but we're not really taking that time to enjoy the flavor that we want to get from it and to enjoy that experience. So savor it, enjoy it, and then say, okay, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. And we're waiting on a few more questions to come into our Facebook live chat, but I do have a question. So do you have any recommendations for healthy holiday desserts? Like, I feel like anytime, I don't know, that's my favorite part of the holidays. I have a terrible sweet tooth. So that's my favorite part of the holidays, like going home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, like, oh, I know that there's going to be this on the dessert table. But I guess to counter that, if I bring a healthy dessert, then maybe that'll kind of, a little bit of balance. So do you have any healthy dessert recipes or recommendations?
So I don't have any recipes offhand, but I can tell you, Kaylin, that you can make a lot of recipes a little bit healthier by making some simple swaps. So instead of regular enriched flour, if you go for that whole wheat flour, you're making it a whole grain. You can oftentimes cut down the amount of butter that you're putting in a dessert by half. Sometimes we can't even tell the difference. Applesauce is another great substitute for butter as well, especially in baked goods. And, when it comes down to it, making sure that the portion sizes are the right ones. Oh, and sugar. Sugar is another one that we can really cut down on. And sometimes those desserts come out way too sweet. So we can really work on reducing that a little bit, and that would make it a lot healthier.
Thank you. And then I guess my other question. So I know, me traveling home is not as far, but I know you have some people that, have to fly home and they have a longer distance. So do you have any recommendations, people who are traveling, train, plane, bus, and kind of sticking to a good routine of healthy eating while they're gone? So would you recommend like them packing snacks for themselves, or, making sure that they have certain things on hand when they're traveling to visit family and friends for the holidays?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Um, if it's for an extended period of time where they're going to be with their family or friends and they're kind of, at their mercy, um, it might be beneficial to kind of do a little bit of grocery shopping on their own, and keeping that food there while they're there. If they're on the road while they're traveling, packing a healthier snack would be the best option. Kind of keeping a cooler in their car if they're going to be going on a trip, and that way, we can avoid eating out at fast food restaurants or at convenience stores, which is really where we'll find all of those options that are less than desirable and really high in the salt, high in the fats, high in the sugars, high in the calories, all those typical fast food things that come along with it.
Well, thank you, Emma. Thank you for answering my questions.
One of the things I kept hearing you say is calories, whether it's food, whether it's drinks, it's all about the calories. So is counting calories best, even like after the holidays? Because I'm still depressed over the fact that the holiday weight gain doesn't go away.
So, Kathy, that's a really great question. I would say that my philosophy isn't on counting calories per se. I think that counting calories can get us a little bit too boggled down with the details and the actual specific numbers. I think and also it's important for us to note here that a calorie is not necessarily the same between a good calorie and a bad calorie, right? We can have 100 calories worth of grapes and we can have 100 calories worth of a cookie. At the end of the day, they're not the same amount of benefits for our body. And so what I really like to kind of focus on is taking a look at our overall diet. And this isn't just for the holidays, but also throughout the year. Take a look at our diet and, maybe writing down things and keeping track of that would be greatly beneficial. And kind of saying, well, if I want to lose weight and I know I have to cut calories, what's the best way for me to do it might be just to take a look at what are some of the things we can take out of our diet that isn't actually beneficial to our bodies. So things that are not our vegetables, things that are not our protein, things that are not our fruits, those things aren't like everything else, such as, the cookies and the chips and the Pop-Tarts, goodness gracious, all those things, the sodas, they're not actually helping our body and they're not making us healthier, but they are adding to our calories. So if we just took that out without even counting, we would be eating less calories and a healthier overall diet. And I think that's what's most sustainable, because counting calories is not going to be something we can continue to do every single day. And eventually we might fall off the wagon. But building those healthier habits are the ones that can stick with us and be easier to remember for us as well.
Sounds like a New Year's resolution.
See, and I think that was perfect, Kathy, because that's a great segue into, we're talking about the holidays. New Year's is in there as well, and I think a lot of people put on their resolution list, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds before this time, or I'm going to, start this diet and all these different things. So, what do you have any? And when you're speaking to patients, anyone that comes to visit you and talk to you, are there any recommendations, or I guess like tips or words of affirmation that you tell them to kind of help people stay motivated? Because it can be very intimidating, to your
Yes.
point about like, when we start getting to the calorie conversation, it's like, okay, well, I gotta eat, I gotta have this, or I can't take this out. And I think that's why a lot of people fall off after the
Yeah.
holidays from trying to eat healthy. So are there any tips or any just positive words of affirmation you can share that you're like, okay, keep going?
Yes. So I'm so glad that you asked that, because I think what I just was telling Kathy about really kind of rolls over into what I was going to say, is that we're aiming for being better, we're aiming for progress, and we're not really aiming for perfection. And so it doesn't have to, when we're talking about New Year's resolutions, we're like, okay, well, we're going to start on January 1st. And if I fall off the wagon, then I'm just going to wait until next year to start all over again. And we really don't have to do that. We don't even have to wait until the next week or even the next day, because every meal is it's a whole new chance for us to do better than we did last time. And so, even if we had one cheat meal or we did something that we know we weren't supposed to do, it doesn't mean that we have to wait a whole new week until next Monday to start our week all over again. Just because we mess up once doesn't mean we can't get back up and, do better at our next meal.
I love that.
Give ourselves grace. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we're so forgiving to others that we don't necessarily give ourselves the same leeway. And it's really important to remember that.
See, and I think that's very good. Like because I I know for me especially, I'm like, oh well, I messed up. Okay, I ate that cookie. Well, I'll wait till Monday to start over again. I'll keep
now you don't have to.
Look, now you don't have to. Now you have just, Emma, you are dropping a lot of gems and a lot of words. Let me check. I'm gonna check our Facebook chat and make sure we don't have any more questions at the moment. Well, I think we are almost out of time. Kathy, do you have anything else for Emma while we have her here?
I just appreciate how you tied in not just about what you put in your body, but taking care of your body with exercise, taking care of your body by getting enough sleep. I mean, those are just things that kind of seem to be secondary, but from what you said, they're just as important.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that is all the time that we have today. Thank you again, Emma, for speaking with us and speaking to all of our viewers, our virtual viewers out there. And for anyone that's watching, if you have any additional questions, please continue to comment or feel free to send Nashville General Hospital a message. And if you would like to schedule an appointment with a primary care provider, please contact 615-341-4968. Once again, that number is 615-341-4968, or visit nashvillegeneral.org.
Again, thank you to everyone who joined us today, and especially you, Emma.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be able to spread the word and make sure that we are all doing well, making sure that we also know that I am here in case anybody wants to come and talk. I'm on the first floor.
We'll make sure to have your information posted,
Yeah.
so people can make appointments with you as well. And please join us for our next Wellness Wednesday event on Wednesday, December 22nd at 12:15. Our guests will be Chaplain Reverend Omarion Lee, as well as Kristen Clarkson. We will be talking about our spiritual wellness as we end 2021. So have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone.